Hello everyone and welcome to the latest Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshot Breakdown for Scholomance Academy. The top tiers are shuffling a bit in the post-nerf Wild meta as players are adjusting to the resurgence of aggro and yet another round of balance changes. Turtle Mage and Jade Druid have fallen from grace after the respective nerfs to Tortillin Pilgrim and Guardian Animals, but when Blizzard closes a door, the Wild community opens a window. The Paladin class is back, with Odd Paladin re-emerging as one of the format's decks to beat. Despite these changes, decks like Reno Priest, Discard Warlock, and Quest Mage are still holding strong in the top tiers. The Scholomance meta is settling in, so come join our Wild meta experts as we take a closer look at the format's latest developments. As always, be sure to subscribe to the Tempo Strategy YouTube channel and ring the bell to stay up to date with our Wild Hearthstone content. Now let's begin. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Reno Priest continues to hold the top spot in Tier 1 despite there being a few shakeups in the rest of the meta. The resurgence of aggro was good news for Reno Priest, since the deck is packed with removal, and with the Highlander package in the mix, it can find the right answer to almost any situation, and against slower decks, Reno Priest also has inevitability with the Raza Anduin combo, which is very difficult to disrupt. As it stands now, with the exception of fast combo decks like Quest Mage, Reno Priest has very few weaknesses. Joining Reno Priest in Tier 1, we have Discard Warlock, which has emerged as one of the most powerful and consistent aggro decks in the format. The deck is packed with ways to get more for its mana than almost any other strategy, with Conrathod, Ebonlock, and Dark Glare giving it explosive potential in the first few turns, and the discard synergy package with Doomguard, Nightshade Matron, Hand of Gul'dan, and Malchezaar's Imp giving it the ability to cycle through its card quickly while playing heavy-hitting minions. Even dedicated control decks can struggle with Discard Warlock's relentless pace, and against other aggro decks, the deck has plenty of ways to break serve and take control of the board. Speaking of relentless, Odd Paladin returns to Tier 1 after a long stretch away from the top tiers. Players in the Western servers have taken a page out of China's servers playbook and fully embraced the updated archetype. It's been an off-meta deck for a while now, so what's changed? Scholomance Academy has brought some game-changing cards to the archetype. Tour Guide is spectacular with the updated Baku Paladin hero power, and with Righteous Cause making it almost trivial to complete the Paladin side quest and make a buffed team as early as turn 2. Animated Broomstick is also fantastic at giving Odd Paladin a way to come back from behind and fight for board against other aggro decks, which is one of the deck's classic weaknesses. Add it all up, and Odd Paladin is back, and it's everywhere on Wild Ladder. Tempo Quest Mage rounds up our Tier 1, and it's been able to weather the storm of a shifting meta very well, despite its classic weakness to aggro. Simply put, Quest Mage is the best deck you can play against Reno Priest, and against other control decks and combo decks, Quest Mage reaches a critical mass and assembles a kill faster than those decks can put up a defense. Players have embraced the addition of Wand Thief and Wand Maker from Scholomance Academy almost wholeheartedly, which helps the deck fight for board presence and complete the quest, all while improving your odds to draw only minions with Book of Specters. Of course, the deck's classic combos still play a big role, which means that the deck always has the potential to defeat its opponent with a flurry of spells and an avalanche of giants. Our Tier 2 picks are noteworthy for being strong decks in the meta, even if they're not the most powerful outright. At the top of Tier 2 is Aggro Druid, which has become a hard-hitting mainstay of the Scholomance meta. Aggro Druid can build a punishing board in the blink of an eye with cheap minions and buffs, and it can threaten lethal with Savage Roar as early as turn 3. With Embiggen and Voracious Reader in the mix, Aggro Druid does have some late-game staying power, but it can still struggle against decks that can deal with its early aggression. Kingsbane Rogue joins Aggro Druid in Tier 2 after a long stint in Tier 1. Unlike the other Tier 1 decks, Kingsbane has not adjusted well to the resurgence of aggro, as it can struggle a bit for board against massive early pushes from decks like Aggro Druid and Discard Warlock. On the other hand, Kingsbane can still beat slower combo decks and control decks senselessly with its massive weapon. With the rest of the format focused on trying to deal with swarms of minions, it's not hard for Kingsbane Rogue to take advantage of those trends and punish its opponents with its limitless source of damage. Cube Warlock also takes its spot in Tier 2, and it's been a beneficiary of Wild's aggressive trends. With tons of removal and easy access to big taunts, Cube Warlock can be tuned to stay ahead of all but the most relentless opponents. At the other side of the spectrum, it can outlast most slower opponents with one of the highest value endgame strategies you'll see in Wild Hearthstone. While Cube Block can struggle with combo decks, specifically Reno Priest and Quest Mage, it's still a fine choice for Warlock fans who want to take a break from aggro. Rounding up our Tier 2 breakdown, we have Reno Mage. We're still recommending the Luna's Pocket Galaxy version of the deck, since it's the best one to stand up against the return of Odd Odd Paladin, and other aggressive trends. The change to Tortolin Pilgrim may have been a deck-breaking nerf to Turtle Mage, but for Reno Mage, it's more of a side grade, since using the Tortolin to cast Luna's Pocket Galaxy removes the spell from your deck so you're not forced to draw it later. Once the discount from Luna's Pocket Galaxy is online, Reno Mage can overwhelm virtually any opponent with a deluge of massive threats, and that includes the boogeyman of the format, Reno Priest. For our final showcase, let's take a look at an up-and-coming archetype that's quickly becoming a favorite of high legend ladder players. Anyfin OTK Murloc Paladin is back, and in a form that is completely unlike the Murloc Paladin decks we've seen in the recent past. Instead of using a beatdown strategy, the new Murloc Paladin takes a defensive approach and builds its resources until it can go off with Tip the Scales and deal 30 damage with charging Murlocs all in one shot. With High Abyss Allura plus the coin or a Wand Maker spell, or with Prismatic Lens, you can sometimes cast Tip the Scales at a discount and achieve the combo as early as turn 5, and if Tip the Scales falls through, you can use Anyfin Can Happen to reload the board and push for lethal. This combo approach is surprisingly powerful against slower decks whose defense is focused on removal spells, and that includes the top dog Reno Priest. While this deck can struggle against aggro, the deck's not entirely a sitting duck. It's packed with defensive minions, including Lord Barov and Animated Broomstick, that give it the ability to keep the board clear in the opening turns. Murloc Paladin can falter to awkward draws, but a savvy player can navigate through them and achieve victory, which means the deck is well worth keeping on your radar. In conclusion, the wild meta is settling in after yet another round of nerfs. Aggro strategies like Discard Warlock and Aggro Druid are setting the pace, and Odd Paladin has re-emerged as a serious contender. At the same time, Reno Priest continues to dominate against those aggressive strategies, while Quest Mage continues to keep Reno Priest and other anti-aggro strategies in check. Despite all its ebbs and flows, Scholomance Academy is shaping up to have a balanced meta. We're keeping a close eye on Wild as it develops, so as always, check out the full meta report over on our website for all the details, and be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to stay up to date with our Wild Hearthstone content. Thanks for watching!